Good afternoon. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about this unbelievably gorgeous faucet that if it is not in your next pool bath, or if you're doing some fabulous job on the beach, you better have it there because it's stunning and I'm super obsessed with it. So, welcome. I am live from my Scottsdale showroom. Yes, we are practicing our social distancing and I need a Corona cut because this is becoming a mess. So next time you see me, stay tuned next Thursday. I will have shaved my head because I cannot. It has lasted as long as it's going to last, okay? So here we go. I just want to kind of go through kind of a little bit of the process in general, and some of this may be general to you, and some of you guys may be like, well, duh, I totally know this. And then others are going to be like, no, I don't know this so much. But ultimately, I just wanted to say what it's kind of like going through the process with us in general, and why it's good to be using us as much as possible. And that really is about, to me, everything starts with the faucet. Whether you're remodeling, you're building a new home, there's just an overwhelming amount of choices. And so if you keep it simple, if you come and work with a professional, if you especially work with an interior designer who's helping you like go through the ultimate process and all of the steps and just take it out in bite sizes. So for me, the initial bite size is really about the lavatory faucet in the bathroom. And particularly for me, it's the master bathroom, maybe the powder bathroom, just because like, you know, as you progress through the house, people are a little bit over picking out products. And so you want them to really care about the things that they're interacting with all the time. So, because for me, it is this bathroom faucet that ultimately you're touching every day, you're interacting with, you're brushing your teeth, you're washing your face, you're shaving your face. And ultimately it is a representation and it is of you and the style that you've chosen. And for me, it's about that idea of like, I touch things all the time and I'm like, oh, that's fabulous. I'm fabulous. You know, from the food I eat, you know, to the appliances I interact with, it is really about that like reiteration of who I am and what I am. And especially with faucets now, you have so many choices in style and design that you can really do that. You can make it so personal. So anyhow, and then for me, it kind of, it rolls from there. So it's like then the rest of the bathroom you start focusing on. So you can start focusing on your cabinet holes, your lighting, you know, any of the accessories. But it's really simple once you start with that initial faucet. So again, bringing the client in, we're going to talk to them initially about style. So the styles, so it's super basic, obviously. Contemporary, transitional, traditional. For me, this contemporary faucet I am particularly obsessed with because it is from 1968. That was when it was designed. It's from Vola. It's as old as my family's business, which is now 52 years old, right? Did I do my math correctly? I hope so. But it's that simplicity. There's not a lot of edges. It's, you know, it's either round or square. It's easy to clean. That is a great contemporary faucet. And then there's traditional over on the other side. And this is obviously a fabulous Sherle Wagner faucet in a beautiful gold finish. Again, it has obviously a lot more ridges, a lot more detail in it, lots more to clean, but ultimately it's that personification of like Victorian era, of the Edwardian era, which again, did not have faucets, but if they did, they'd look like this, right? So, and then in the middle, you'll see kind of a transitional faucet. Now, I think most people kind of fall into this like transitional category ultimately, which again, you're softening the edges of the traditional, or you're giving it a little bit more style from the contemporary. So it's this perfect mix of both. This one I love because it's square. Again, we were doing so many round faucets for so long that it's exciting to see some square options. Okay. So that was like the simplistic version, but it obviously is much more complicated than that. So here's some kind of like trends and styles that are happening right now as well. So we have organic style over on the left side. You'll see that Hansgrohe faucet from Axor. It's designed by Philippe Stark, who designed, his original design is just that like simple, I mean, his name, Stark, is very obvious in that design. But when you look at this, it's softer. It's the idea of that, it's it's like a pebble that came from the ocean that's been rounded, you know, and the rough edges have been finished off of it, or the graph faucet below it that kind of has that similar type of feel. And then industrial, which is interesting because it's like this new update on traditional. So again, it's this, you know, chunkier, sometimes bigger, but ultimately more metal type of feel. And sometimes it's like different things that don't necessarily go together. If you look at that graph faucet on the top, you know, it's like a pipe, and then it's, you know, it's just different riveting. And so it's rounds, it's squares, it's kind of pushing it all together. And then you have fun faucets that like don't really fit into a category. They may be a little bit avant-garde, but it's about like you can design your whole bathroom around a super cool, fabulous faucet. So the one on the top right is from DXV. It's unbelievable when it turns on. The water is coming out of those each individual spouts. This one is actually manufactured by a 3D printing process. And then the one below it is from Lefroy Brooks, which they're an interesting line because the man who created their line basically went back in time and looked at faucets from the 1920s and 30s and 40s. And then he got to the 50s and he was like, this is super boring. So he manufactured this faucet because he was like, if those people had the opportunity, they would have made a cool faucet, Jetsons era, looking like, you know, space travel and going to the moon and all of those things. So it gives you just kind of a totally fun look that, again, your bathroom can be designed around that doesn't really fit into a perfect style category. So after we kind of choose that, then we're going to talk about functionality. So again, single hole faucets. To me, this is ultimate European style, and really worldwide style, I should say, because at the end of the day, we're the only country that really does widespread faucets. We're one of the only countries that have these enormous bathrooms that a widespread faucet really makes sense in. So that single hole faucet, and particularly this one that's got this like fabulous swagger where it's just like kicking back. This is manufactured in Argentina by a line called Franz Viegener. So this is the ultimate single handle faucet, which is simple to use because you can just turn it on really easy and get that mix of hot and cold. And then you have the widespread, which, how cool is that faucet? Like,
who makes that?
It's freaking awesome. It's from Sherle Wagner. It's that mix of contemporary. But anyhow, this is also, and I say AKA 8-inch centers because that's how plumbers used to refer to them. But the truth of the matter is, like, you're starting to see bathrooms that, again, your countertops are so big that you're doing bigger sinks on them that are wider. And so it doesn't have to be 8 inches. You can move it out to 10. You can move it out to 12, depending on the size of it and how it feels and looks. So it's kind of playing with that. And it's uniquely American because, again, when you're looking around the world, predominantly it is about less brass, less handles. It's single hole faucets, so that's, and the single hole faucets tend to be less expensive because there's less of those things. And then finally over on the right, you'll see the wall mount faucet. Now, I feel like wall mount faucets, P.S. I need to drink a beer. Wall mount faucets, hopefully my dad's not watching. The wall mount faucet, I think went kind of like through a trend ultimately there for a little while. But it really should be a classic. Like it should be something that we are regularly using just because for me, it's the easiest to clean. Especially in Arizona with our hard water and things, you know, you're using these products and then the hard water kind of builds up around all of the little pieces that are on the countertop. And so by it being a wall mount, you're avoiding that. The only challenge with them is they are harder to install and you kind of have to understand them from the very beginning. So you have to think about the very beginning of your project, I have to have a valve in the wall, and that valve has to match the manufacturer that I'm particularly using. And so and you have a few different options with it, like I said, and you have to kind of measure. Also, you have to be a good designer or a good builder and a good plumber ultimately that's figuring out measurements to make sure that it's coming out from the wall and not going to splash all over, but hits into the center of your sink if you're lucky. Okay, now this is my favorite, finishes. So finishes for days, they're fabulous. I've got all kinds of cool, fun stuff around here, and I kind of wanted to show you. So like, here's a cool, fabulous faucet from Sigma. It looks like it's matte black here on this video, but you have to touch it and see it, and you'll realize it's not. It's a kind of unique, interesting black steel, essentially. So it's kind of stainless steel, but it's black. But manufacturers are making like you know, 30 different finishes, some of them. Do you need 30 different finishes? No. So let's try to keep it simple, or at least that's what I try to do. And ultimately, one question or one hope I have for all of you is to avoid oil rub bronze. So this is just my hope, my prayer. Arizona and South Carolina seem to be the only places that are still doing some oil rub bronze. And I get it, if it fits into the space, sure, for that rustic cabin. But like at the end of the day, you're seeing like matte black and you're seeing some of these other fun gunmetal finishes and whatnot that are kind of replacing that all over the country. And luckily, it is happening in Arizona too. The other thing I want to say yes to is matte white and matte black. So again, you know, we always thought that the default, the simplest option was chrome. And as matte white and matte black have become more popular, you're starting to see, you know, I can do so many other things with the rest of my room, and I can add other finishes if I'm sticking with those two matte finishes. So if I want to put some gold in there on a door handle or cabinet hardware, it goes with it really well, as opposed to sometimes, you know, some of your other finishes are a little bit more clashy, and especially if you're doing all bronze, then you can't be doing any of those other finishes because you look crazy. So that's my advice to you. So I am asking all of you though to keep the golds coming, okay? So, because for me, like, when did gold jewelry go out of style? Like it never did. Like it was fabulous on your grandma, it's fabulous on your mama, and it's fabulous on you. So keep the golds coming. I enjoy them. There's multiple different versions of gold. And I think one of the reasons that people have been a little bit more concerned about it, you know, it's becoming more popular and it continues to trend. But I think it's something that's more to stay, because that's what people keep asking me, is they're like, well, is it too trendy? Is it going to go out? And I think the problem was in the 80s when we were doing polished brass, and that polished brass went bad and the finish didn't stay and it literally flaked off your faucet. People are like, I can't deal with that. And then that was obviously a trend. It went away. But I really do believe gold ultimately, because like I said, it doesn't go out of style in any of your jewelry. And then split your finishes. Like, don't be afraid. It is a small trend that some people are venturing into, but it's that idea of, if you're that person who wears gold and silver together, like, guess what? You can. It's okay. And I get it. There's some people that are like, no. Today's gold day. Today's, you know, silver day. But no. Put them together. It's fine. I'm loving me some gold finishes, especially here. Let me show you. It's just mixing fun things like this. And it's really easy to mix the black and the golds. You know, it's simple. It's small. It's a little detail. You know, I'm not saying like, you know, every other finish, every other piece is a different color. No. Make it simple. But that's what's fun about some of these finish companies, is that we're able to specify, hey, just this handle I want black, just this one piece, the stem I want black, or some other finish. So that's what's kind of fun about it. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about living finishes, because a lot of people are scared of them, and I don't want you to be. And the reason I don't want you to be is that I feel like living finishes really let products age. It gives them such a uniqueness, a richness to them, that we're really seeing as time goes on. It doesn't tarnish as much as it just evolves. And so this is a great living finish. And don't get me wrong, like if your cleaning lady cleans it with some toxic chemical, it will like go the brightest gold you've ever seen. But what's fun about it is ultimately it will then change and it'll patina and get back to one of those cool, living, beautiful colors. So don't be afraid of living finishes, y'all. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about style trends. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, style trends. We are... Okay, Art Deco style. It is happening. Thank goodness. So again, Art Deco kind of really started coming back, I think, a little bit last year in terms of, and maybe a little bit the year before, particularly in tile. Tile manufacturers did a really good job of bringing those Art Decos looks back in. And so it's happening also in faucets. And again, it's about bold geometric forms. And if you think about Art Deco, it really started happening pre-World War I. And like, again, getting out of that Edwardian Victorian era where everything was poofy and over the top. And this instead was about minimalism, but it was also about like handcrafted pieces and pieces that were made really, really, really well. So all the products that you're kind of seeing here, that is exactly what they are. On the bottom left, you're seeing a Barber Wilson faucet, and that is a classic Art Deco faucet that has literally been around for nearly 100 years. But then you're also seeing kind of updated versions of it. So you're seeing kind of that square look in the middle, and then the one on the top right from Gessi that I just love with those beautiful reliefs to it, again, in multiple finishes that we can play with and have some fun with, that again, just it's an iconic style. It's not going out of style. And then the one on the bottom right from Rohl that I love, and I know you can't see, first of all, this faucet is so stick and heavy, you can't even imagine. Luckily, I'm very strong, so I can lift it. But if you can see the top of it and you can see kind of the faceting, it looks like a diamond. And it's just, it's small, simple details that are, you know, that aren't flat, that are giving you something kind of cool and interesting to enjoy, play around with. Okay, and then this is really my favorite personal style trend, and it's about customization. It's personalizing your bathroom. And so what's happening here, over here on the left, this is a faucet from Graf, and they actually have 3 different spout styles. So you see the square spout, the C spout, and then there's a short spout. And then you're seeing 3 different options. So you have the little disc, and the one on the top is a green marble. And then you're seeing just that one little piece of gold, and then the matte black again. And then you can see how different the look is on the one on the bottom. And I made both of these. They have an awesome like faucet configurator situation on their website that allows you to kind of like mix and match and show you all these different details that you can change up. So that's a matte white disc. And then the base plate there is the polished nickel. And then you can see that beautiful like riveting that's happening under it. Well, it's kind of hard to see. It's very petite, but I promise you it is there, and it is gorgeous, and it is giving you texture. But again, you can see how different the looks really are. And then you'll see in the middle one, now I was shocked to see this faucet because this is Hansgrohe. And Hansgrohe is like the ultimate German manufacturer. And at the end of the day, Hansgrohe like only makes chrome and then some chrome. And over the past few years, they have been coming out with a few beautiful rich finishes, black nickels. And then here you're seeing even more customization. You're seeing this cool square faucet, but then you're seeing that they're able to put different plates in the top of it. So there's 6 different things to choose from, or you can just be boring and go with the same chrome. But it's still pretty. And then over on the right, I love this faucet because I think it's so interesting how the two are the exact same faucet, but they look so different. So the one on the top with the beautiful purple and that like fun peekaboo handle, I made that up. I have no idea what a peekaboo handle is, but that's what I'm calling it. And then with the matte black. So I just see this in like some cool kid's bath, someone who's like, I love purple. And you're like, yes, you do, because it's in your bathroom and you're the best. And then the one on the bottom I'm looking at and I'm going, oh my God, that's so sophisticated, because you're seeing the black, but with the gold. So it's this really cool, interesting mix of the 2 pieces. But again, sophisticated, cool, personal, making each bathroom unique to themselves.
Mixed up.
Love it. So, and then finally, here's my industrial style trend that obviously has been kind of coming, out and about for a while now, and I am like super feeling in general, because again, it really reinvented traditional. Traditional just, had kind of, it was feeling stale, it was feeling boring, and this is what really got it to feel unique and interesting and give it some different characters. So the one on the left is by an Italian line called Gessi. And it's so interesting with the Rohl faucet at the top up there. And they have basically the same C spout, but I don't know if you notice on the Gessi faucet, there's like a cutout basically in that C that just gives it a little bit of uniqueness. And then the knurling at the bottom, because again, with this industrial look, it's really about texture and things having a different feel. And that's kind of what that does. And you can't see it as well on the Rohl faucet, but there is some riveting on that rounded handle, which is, again, it's just these small details that are so fun and interesting. And then, you know, industrial kind of runs the gamut from steampunk, soft industrial, and then I like to call it contemporary with attitude. And that to me is that chrome faucet, because that's a simple sea spout that's been around for a while in the contemporary world, but then throw on a pop of red color, and then with that interesting handle style, makes it a totally different faucet. And then especially if you just change it all together and make the entire thing, you know, matte black, you know, or polished nickel, beautiful look. And then finally is that faucet over on the right. And I am telling you, when this came out from Brizo, I was super feeling it. And the reason is because, you know, wall mounts there for a little while had gotten really boring. It was basically like take an 8-inch center and then put it, you know, on the wall. And that was it. So not that interesting, not that fun. But this really, again, was designed to me so specifically. It's this huge honking piece of metal that is heavy, and then it's got this really nice handle that's really simple, clean, contemporary, and then it works kind of like a shower valve. So essentially it's off cold water and then turns all the way to hot, which is kind of cool. So those are my fun industrial faucets that I'm kind of obsessed with, but I want to show you just a couple more for industrial. Like, okay, everyone says they can make this faucet, especially because we're a plumbing wholesale company. So like literally you can maybe go back there. But I promise it's not that easy, but it looks like it. And again, in multiple finishes, this is kind of a funky burnished gold versus if you put it in polished nickel or you put it in like a black nickel, it's so sexy, so hot. Another one of my favorite faucets, I feel like it's like show and tell. I'm in kindergarten, and these are my favorite faucets that I brought home from my dad's store, which I really. Okay. Anyhow, this one, and I know it's super hard to kind of see. It's simple, it's subtle. This is Franz Viegener. It's this beautiful, simple look, and it just comes up. And can I just say for a second, because I think people are always so concerned about low spouts, and I'm always like, I don't get it. I don't get what your problem is with low spouts. Because at the end of the day, a nice low spout ultimately has the ability to make sure that you're not splashing water all over the bloody place. So the higher the spout is, the more water goes out of the bowl, so that's just me and my deal. So don't be afraid of beautiful faucets with low spouts like this. Okay, what else do I got? Oh, I got this one. Again, this is a similar one to the graph that I showed you. Again, being able to pick out different little small pieces, little details. I know it's not as clear on the camera. It's easier to come in sometimes. The other option, though, we have for you is if you need a faucet, if you need to show it to a client, let me know. Let one of my staff know. Like, we can bring it out to you so that you have them, because obviously we don't have as many people coming in. So I've got faucets that you can borrow. So that is one way to be doing business with us. Also, obviously, we can do some Zoom calls. Make it, you know, we can do it just like this. I can walk you around my showroom, show you my product, or I can show you on my wish list, because we have a great website that you can create these beautiful wish lists. If you attach it to your salesperson in the store, they'll get an email that says, hey, you know, Joy made a fabulous wish list selection for you, Jason. So check it out. And that's essentially then you can kind of work back and forth that way. So that's another way to do business with us. Can bring clients in. We just ask for serious social distancing and, you know, to make an appointment if you can, just so we make sure there's not as many people in the showroom right now. But otherwise, thank you. You know, thank you for shopping with us. Thank you for using Central Arizona Supply, and continue to use local businesses, family businesses, as much as you possibly can, because that is what is going to help us get through this. So I hope you guys all learned something. I hope you enjoyed my beautiful selections that I'm feeling. And believe me, there's plenty more where that came from. Oh, and we have boring faucets too. I just don't like showing them. But like, yeah, those exist as well. So if you have a customer that's kind of boring, yeah, I got those too. Thank you guys so much. Take care of yourself.